Hi guys, and welcome to the prediction video for the match day 2 fixtures of our Scottish Premiership season for 2025-26, where it's still in that sort of touch and go stage with the teams that are involved in European football and what kind of results they're going to get based off results that they got midweek. Are they going to rest players, that sort of thing, for the fixtures coming up? It's always quite difficult, of course, as well. Even if they didn't rest players, those players did travel during the week. Unless, of course, your Rangers who were playing at Ibrox, although even if they didn't travel, they did have a midweek game, so it is a little bit difficult at this stage of the season sometimes to predict results based off that. However, we're going to give it our best go. If you are new around here, please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, including some of the FC25 SPFL RTG, the actual season prediction video as well for the whole season, and also the kit ranking video we did for the home kits as well. But without further ado, let's get into the predictions for this weekend's fixtures for the Scottish Premiership. So our first fixture doesn't involve either team that would have been playing in European football. We have St Mirren against Motherwell. St Mirren, of course, difficult game to open the season against Celtic, and Motherwell, difficult game to open the season against Rangers last weekend. Motherwell, of course, picking up a point. St Mirren conceding late on after a heroic defensive performance to go away with nothing, unfortunately for them, from Celtic Park. Should be a completely different game from the pair of them. St Mirren probably favourites being at home. However, I'm going to back Motherwell to get the result here. I'm going to back them to get a 2-1 win based off of the way that they played against Rangers, particularly in the second half. I think the football that they played was really impressive, and I think they'll take a lot of confidence from the game against Rangers that they can, if they can play that kind of football against Rangers, then they should be able to play that kind of football against anybody in the league. So I'm going to back Motherwell to come away 2-1 winners in this game, although I wouldn't be surprised to see the result go the other way with St Mirren being at home. On to what is a bit of a grudge match from the Championship last season. We have Livingston against Falkirk. Both teams picking up 2-2 draws last weekend. Livingston away to Kilmarnock and Falkirk at home to Dundee United. Last season, correct me if I'm wrong, Falkirk failed to beat Livingston on any occasion. And it might even have been a case that Livingston won every single game against Falkirk. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that Livingston came away unscathed against Falkirk, despite the fact that Falkirk did end up winning the Championship. And I think that trend will continue with it being at Livingston. I think Livingston will win this game tomorrow, and I think we're going to look at a 2-0 Livingston win in this case. I'm sure that'll annoy some Falkirk fans, but I did, in spoiler alert for my full season predictions, I did predict that Falkirk would struggle away from home this season, and given the fact that they struggled against Livingston in every game last season, I don't think that trend is going to change tomorrow. On to the late kickoff. I think this one is either on Sky Sports or Premier Sports. We have Rangers against Dundee. Rangers, of course, coming off the back of a really strong result against Victoria Pilsen. Dundee, their last competitive fixture, losing at home to Hibs, which, the way that Hibs have been at the moment, it's not the worst result in the world, to be fair to them. Rangers' last, of course, domestic outing was that 1-1 draw against Motherwell. This all depends, I think. I mean, whichever team Rangers put out should be able to get the job done against Dundee, I believe, especially at home. But it all depends on how Russell Martin decides to approach this. Does he do heavy rotation because of the game midweek and he wants to rest players? I think the position that Rangers are in doesn't necessarily require them to rest players for the game against Pilsen because of the fact that they are already 3-0 up in the tie. It would take a massive turnaround from Pilsen, I think, to prevent them from going through to the playoffs, with that being the case. So I don't think they have to do heavy rotation, and on that basis I think we're looking at a 2-0 win for Rangers in this one, because you'll have the players not wanting to pick up injuries before the tie, because if you get too many players injured, then yes, it becomes easier for Pilsen to turn it around. I still believe it would take a lot for Pilsen to turn it around though. On to our televised fixture on the Sunday. We have Celtic and Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Aberdeen, of course, losing to Hearts 2-0 last weekend in their first competitive fixture of the season. And Celtic coming away with that 1-0 win against St Mirren on their first competitive fixture of the season. I don't think Aberdeen will quite sit in and defend like St Mirren did against Celtic, which should create more opportunities, you would imagine, for Celtic in this game. Aberdeen, the second half was a bit better against Hearts, but if they the first half was just non-existent from them, so they'll be looking to try and channel that second half performance. Both sides, of course, have European playoffs coming up, but not the midweek after this game anyway, so they don't need to worry about that being the case. So in this game, I think it'll be an entertaining game. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Celtic win, though. Now, this one's extremely interesting. Dundee United against Hearts at Tannadice. Of course, Dundee United with the draw against Falkirk last time out domestically, but they also picked up that impressive 2-2 draw away from home to Rapid Vienna as well. Credit to them for that. They potentially, with the quality of goals that they scored, and they'll be disappointed with the goals they conceded, they potentially could have come away with more than that. Obviously, Rapid Vienna did have more chances, but the actual goals they conceded were a wee bit disappointing from their point of view. Hearts, of course, has been very impressive in pre-season and impressive against Aberdeen as well. I do think this is a case, though, different from both Hibs and Rangers, where Dundee United may look to rest players because their tie is very much in the balance. Also, they've already got their injury problems as well. They don't want to risk any key players being injured, so I think we could see a bit of rotation and some maybe academy players playing this game. And with that being the case, to be honest, I probably would have predicted a Hearts win anyway, but I think Hearts are going to come away comfortable 2-3-0 winners here because of heavy rotation for Dundee United with their game against Rapid Vienna at home next week. And on to Hibs versus Kilmarnock. As I was saying, it's not really the same for Hibs. They're 2-0 up, heading into the tie at home against Partizan Belgrade. Yes, 2-0 is not exactly a comfortable lead, if you like. 3-0 would have been a lot more comfortable. They liked, obviously 2-0 is a bit of a funny score in football at times, but I don't think Hibs need to heavily rotate with that being the case. Kilmarnock, of course, last time out, coming away with that 2-2 draw against Livingston, which they'll probably be disappointed to have came away with after going 2-0 up. They did, of course, go down to 10 men, controversially, with the penalty as well. I think Hibs will still come away the win here. Given the fact that it's also away from home from Kilmarnock, I said I think they would struggle away from home. Hibs don't need to rotate. They want to ride high on this wave of emotion as well, heading into next week's tie at home to potentially get themselves that playoff secured as well for the Conference League, which I think they are in a good position to do so. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 Hibs win here. And that's going to do it for the prediction video for the match day 2 fixtures. If you agree or disagree with anything I've said, let me know in the comments below as well. We'll see if I can get a wee bit more right this time. I think it was not as good as I would have liked it to be with the opening fixtures. I didn't anticipate as many draws as we got, to be fair, with only Hibs, Hearts and Celtic coming away with wins in the last game week as well. So we'll see if that changes this time around. Thank you very much for watching. Please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.